Hey there, good morning. How you guys doing? Chris Rod here from Sun City Lawn Care here in West Texas, in El Paso, the westernmost city in the state of Texas. Today's video is simply an update. Actually, you know what? We're gonna dive into some actual fruit tree care this time of the year. And this is a perfect opportunity to start initiating some soil care for your fruit trees. I'm gonna give you guys 3 tips, or really 2 tips that you should be doing this time of the season for your guys' fruit trees. All right, so let's start off with a quick update on our fruit trees. If you guys can see behind me, we've got our plum tree, and then we've got our pear tree over here, our whip of a pear tree. But it's got flowers coming through. Let's zoom in real quick. While I got you guys over here. And this is when you know it's time to implement what I'm going to be talking about in this video today. So as you can see here, we've got some of the buds that are sprouting. And then on our plum tree here, we've got some positive growth. Open center, of course. You guys will look back here underneath my rose bush. We got some of our tulips. And then adding some vibrant colors to the neighborhood with our already blossomed tulip bed. Now let's venture on over here to the food forest area here again in West Texas. A food forest, imagine that. All right, behind me we've got our raised garden beds. We got our fruit trees along the rock wall there. We've got some more raised beds behind me. My onions, I'm sorry, not my onions, this is my garlic bed. Garlic is doing phenomenal. Last week I did do an application of fertilizer. We use fish emulsion here. And I did a couple tablespoons per gallon, 2 gallons for that whole bed there. That's a 48 square feet raised bed there, and everything's looking great there. Then this might be an update for some of y'all, but as far as the trees go, over the course of the past few months, we planted. I got some trees ordered from fastgrowingtrees.com, very reputable tree source if you guys are interested. I've got a cherry blossom. This is a Japanese cherry blossom there. And then I have a couple maple trees. They're all Japanese maple trees. I went ahead and threw down some cash for 3 different varieties of Japanese maple trees. So I'm going to be transforming this into not just a food forest, but a Japanese garden, if you will. Okay, so this one is my Emperor. Yeah, this is my Emperor Japanese maple. And then on the other side of the house, I have the Red Dragon and the Bloodgood over there. I did buy the smaller versions of these, primarily because I don't want massive trees. Okay, we're gonna be keeping these at a certain height. They can grow some width, but I'm creating this pathway throughout the food forest, and that's been the goal really with this whole process. But anyways, let's get back to the trees here, the fruit trees, topic of the video. And you don't see enough of this in West Texas, in El Paso, maybe in other parts of the US, but definitely in West Texas. When most plant trees here, whether it be a fruit tree or a pine tree, palm trees, whatever the case is, whatever kind of tree, this particular city is big on xeriscape, which is why we remove the rocks. A lot of properties are based on rock foundations, okay, or rock landscape, if you will. They try to do this whole water conservation program in the city, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm all about conserving water. But here in the desert, when you're trying to grow vegetables or trees, there's going to be some watering requirements needed. And one of the ways that we actually help conserve water is through these particular steps that I'm going to be talking about in this video. And I'm going to try to keep this as fast as possible to give you these tips within 10 minutes, okay? So we have our apple tree. This is a cherry tree here, and you guys can see the leaf tissue already forming. And this is actually a newly planted peach tree here, okay? And I had to replace this one because the first one we did a year ago did not make it. It died back, and actually it went, it got root bound, I guess, from the slope. It was just receiving too much water, and it was staying moist, and it died, okay? So we got a new one in place. Open centered that one as well. And so let's talk about the tips, if you will, of today's video. It's simply something that everybody should be doing, no matter the tree, whether it be a fruit tree or a nut tree or any other kind of tree, in my opinion. All right, guys, so simply what we're talking about today is adding, we're adding compost to our fruit trees. It's the beginning of the springtime. We got new leaf tissue growing or sprouting on these fruit trees. That's your key indicator of when to do this. Okay. The two tips in this video are simply by adding compost. That's going to help with a number of things. And then the second tip is simply fertilizing your trees. Okay, now not everybody needs to fertilize their trees, not everybody needs to add compost. The reason why I'm an advocate of it is here in West Texas, we're founded on sandy soil system, so there's not a lot of organic material within that sand. Not only is there a lack of fertility, but there's also a lack of water holding capacity. So and this is one of the main benefits of adding compost, is the first benefit really is enhancing that soil system. Okay, in the process of having this mulch spread throughout, we're changing the composition of the soil, or the sand, into soil. So what we're talking about is simply adding compost to your fruit trees. Really, that first benefit is enhancing the soil. The second benefit of actually adding compost is we're adding that organic material that acts as a natural fertilizer. Okay, this early part of the spring, it's March 24th, is a really good time to go ahead and initiate some sort of fertility program for your fruit trees. Okay, the second time, or the second opportunity that we would do something of a fertility, won't be necessarily by adding compost, but fertilizing your fruit trees in the early summertime. Okay, and then the last time, if you are in the opportunity of fertilizing your fruit trees, would be in the fall time. That would be your third opportunity, where you can backfill with some more compost before winter dormancy. Okay, you're not necessarily going to add some organic fertilized granulars to the tree in the winter, but in the fall time you definitely want to compost. There's really two times of the season where you add compost: early spring and in the fall time. So those are some of the benefits of actually adding compost to your fruit trees. The second part of this video essentially is we're going to be fertilizing our trees today. We're going to be using something new. It's called Grow Well Proven Organics. Okay, both of these products are OMRI listed. This is a citrus and fruit fertilizer with a 10-to-8 NPK rate for the actual fertilizer. We're simply going to be adding 1 cup of this for every 1 inch in diameter of actual tree trunk for our fruit trees. As far as the mulch goes, this is the simple process of doing this, is you're going to go ahead and scoop back. All right, so when you're actually going to be backfilling with compost, and as you can see, I don't have the mulch up towards the trunk of the tree. You definitely want to keep it away from the tree. So when backfilling with compost, you want to scoop back a good amount of that that mulch that you already have laid down. That's really step one. Get all that wood matter out of there. In the early part of the spring, if you're going to be adding some additional granular fertilizer, you want to add that first. Okay, the reason why we're going to be adding this first is because we're going to add the granular fertilizer down, and then we're going to cover that up with the mulch. All right, sorry about the little delay there. 1 cup, guys, per tree, per inch. This actually looks like little, what do you call those pellets? Like rabbit pellets. Like half a cup. That's 1 cup. Next, what you want to do is work that into the soil. You don't have to get crazy with it. Just work it in as much as you can. Then you can backfill with your compost. Once you're done with that, you can put your mulch back. Remember, you don't want to go all the way up to the bark either. Reinsert your irrigation if you have to. And that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the rest of these trees. After you get all that done, all you want to simply do, if you haven't already, is go ahead and water. Get a good gallon in, 2 gallons, whatever you guys choose. If you don't want to water, you got to get going. Wait till your next day to water. All right, guys, that's it. That's all you got. That's my top 2 tips. Early springtime, get your compost down. If you want to go ahead and do some additional fertility by adding a granular, now's the time to do it. Once you see that new leaf tissue starting to sprout from your fruit trees, you can use any kind of fertilizer. It can be an all-purpose. You can use the 10-2-4 that we use today, 10-2-6, 5-5-5. Go on the lower rate. Know your application rates based on the caliber of tree that you're doing. Some trees are different, some fruit trees are different, some have different requirements, I will say that much, but don't overcomplicate things, guys. Just get it down in the soil, let the tree do its thing. And the last thing I wanted to leave you guys with, when you guys are planting new trees, 1-year-old trees, 2-year-old trees, that will be a factor involved with this. So this is the second season of growth for these trees, and a nice little, I think it's the neatest thing I've ever heard. But when it comes to fruit trees, 3 things to remember about them is the first year they sleep, the second year the roots they creep, and the third year of the growing of the tree they leap. Okay, so what that means is the first year we don't fertilize first year trees. Okay, I didn't fertilize them at all last season. This is the second year, so I went ahead and did some fertility, as you guys just saw, because I want them to start creeping and crawling, doing their thing. I want to see some maximum growth, and by the third year they start to leap, they get really tall, they're mature, and they're producing some fruit yield. I'm not expecting much as far as yield this year as of an actual produce, but by the third year we should have some good leaf growth, y'all, or fruit production as well. Y'all stay tuned. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Take it easy.